This is Marissa, Landy.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good.
You look nervous. You'll be fine.
I am.
I won't lie.
Thank you.
Pussycat.
Oh yes, well that's what
You
I
look
like. Yes, I do.
Tell me about this new show.
Okay, so The Cat's a Thing it's an absurd comedy, a one-woman show, me, exploring my lived experiences of obsessive compulsive disorder. It's quite a weird balance between comedy and not comedy because obviously I'm approaching mental health, so you've got to be sensitive towards everyone else that suffers from the same disorder, but also I deal with my issues through comedy and laughter. So I wanted to try and make it as accessible as possible by making a comedy out of it, and it's absurd so that it's kind of easier for me to connect to it and not get too close to it in a way. And yeah, so it's a weird show. It covers 5 days of someone's life, and it's just Tanya and Dale's the cat, and they just live in this room and they're trapped there, and she's not sure why. And the whole play is about discovering what she needs to do to get out of there, which is a metaphor for what she needs to do to try and recover from her disorder. Yeah.
And how much of it is drawn from your own experience?
A lot. So all of the so basically the OCD part of it is that I've got 2 speakers. Unfortunately it's only 2 because I would have loved to have worked with many more, to try and create the character of OCD only through audio. So there's lots of not so comical parts where the voices are just travelling around the space, the kind of thoughts that I would get if I have like a moment with OCD, and all of that is completely taken from the kind of intrusive thoughts that I get as part of my disorder. They'll be completely different to most other people's experience of OCD because that's it's one of those disorders that's so different for everyone. It's very, very different. So mine is such a specific thing. So a lot of people that come, if they do, that suffer from it will be like, well, that's not the same as mine, but it'll be similar. So all of the darker parts are taken from my own experience, and all the light parts are just me playing around with the play.
So let's talk a little bit about it then. So like, how is it for you?
How is the disorder?
OCD, yeah. How does it manifest in you?
So it's quite a weird one because one of the reasons I'm making the play is that I didn't realise I had it for so long, because everyone seems to know about anxiety and depression. And all and they're all linked anyway. But I only knew what OCD was through anything I'd seen in media before, which tends to be really wrong. It's just not really a proper representation of what it is. So it happened to be a friend that saw me doing something like a habit, and was like, do you have OCD? And I was like, what? No, I'm not tidy, I'm not clean. I mean, I'm clean, but like, I don't obsessively clean. And I was like, I don't think so. She was like, I think you do. So I looked it up and was like, oh my God. And all the things I was reading was like, this is it. And I've had it for most of my life. And I was like, how the hell did I not know this? So it manifests in me in that I could be doing literally anything. I could just touch the chair, and then it would be like, well, you need to touch it as many times as you feel you need to, or you're going to die in about 5 minutes. So mine's very doom and gloom orientated. Wow. So lots of people have like religious OCD or like contamination, which is the one that most people see because people are washing their hands. But mine is just literally anything. I'll just like walk a few steps and be like, well, you better take another 10 or your dad's going to die tomorrow. And it's just like, well, I can't not take the 10 steps because if I don't, my dad will die. And I don't want that to happen. And however irrational that sounds, it fully feels real in my head for however long it takes. I'm quite lucky in that I figured it out what it was, and then I started going to get therapy for it and everything else. So that's one of the main reasons I wanted to make the play, because a lot of people don't know they have it, and then and when it gets bad, it gets really bad. And I'm lucky that I've never gone that far. But some people can't leave their house because they're scared that if they step outside, they'll get contaminated and they'll get a disease that they won't be able to survive from. And it's like, that's not fair. Nobody wants to live their life like that. So.
We talk about therapy, so there are ways to combat it.
Not easily. I'll say that. Nothing's that easy with mental health, I imagine, but there is CBT. I think it's cognitive behavioural therapy, which I had a bit of. I haven't had a lot of it, and that really helped because it really makes you understand why you're thinking these things and why the disorder. Because when you really logically think about it, you're like, well, obviously that's not true, and you need to remind yourself that because it feels so real. And there's so many cases where people can recover from it, and it is possible to recover from it. So when I do the show, I'll give out leaflets or whatever to be
Yeah.
like, by the way, if you know anybody that has this, there is ways out. And it does work, but it just takes a lot of persistent looking after yourself and letting other people know to watch out for your little habits.
Yeah, and how has it impacted your friendships and relationships?
Not too much. I feel like I'm maybe because I do drama.
Yeah.
I'm very open about things, and a lot of people aren't. A lot of my friends that have other kind of mental health issues, they tended to hide it, and it's very dangerous to do that. So luckily, because I told people, they would immediately pick me up on it. So if I'm there at the sink kind of doing something 10 times, my flatmate would be like, come on now, stop doing that.
Yeah.
So I never let it go too far.
And do they call you out on it?
Yeah, they do. I'm quite, I don't know if it's lucky or not, but a lot of mine
Do you
don't
appreciate
show.
it when people do? Or
Yes.
kind of like,
You are a
feel
bit,
embarrassed?
yeah, you kind of go, okay. I don't get it a lot anymore at all, because a lot of mine tend to be just in my head. So I won't actually do compulsions a lot anymore. It's just always ticking on. It's crazy how much you can do in a day that makes it trigger whatever it is. But it hasn't completely affected any relationships in my life, but it can seriously affect others. So I don't want it to happen to anyone. So I'm trying to make more people understand, because the general public, fair enough, don't know what it is. So they'll just think, they're just tidying. And it's like, well, actually, they might think they're going to die if they don't tidy it, and that's not very nice. So maybe give them a helping hand and tell them they don't need to tidy it.
Or help them tidy up.
Or help them tidy up, exactly.
To go back to your show, how did the character of the cat?
Oh,
develop?
honestly. So I have a cat on my own. I actually have a very big tattoo of my cat on my side, which I'm very proud of. So I love cats. But so I thought, okay, this is autobiographical. Well, sort of autobiographical. So I thought, okay, a cat will be nice. But Dale in the show is kind of the manifestation of OCD in a character. So I was like, I don't want to relate that to my wonderful cat. So I thought, okay, this is something that's similar to my life, but I'm not going to make it too similar. So I got a stuffed, not a real stuffed cat, a toy cat that is a ginger cat. My cat is a ginger, so I'm separating it slightly, but I do have that I like cats. I mean, I like dogs too, but it just happened to be that I chose a cat. And it's weird because I've never done a solo show before. So when you're not working with people, you get very attached to the one other thing you've got. So I've got this object that I've kind of built this working relationship with. So whenever I put him away in like a cupboard or a locker, I feel really bad. I'm like, oh no, Dale, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, there's nothing too big to it. It seemed right at the time. And people like cats, and it's a good way to plop it in the program so that any cat lovers will just come along anyway.
Clever. So this is the first time you've been to Edinburgh. You're returning.
I am returning.
So last year, but it is your first autobiographical.
Yes.
Piece. So last year you wrote a piece called
Same Old Same Oldies, which wasn't autobiographical. That was also a comedy, but it was focusing on dementia. So I like focusing on difficult subjects.
Yeah, give us feedback.
I know. That one I did with 7 cast members, and I wasn't in it. And they were all my friends at university at the time. And it was actually my pride and joy. I absolutely loved that play, because that was also the first play I'd written. And that did really well. It got a 4.5-star review, which was lovely for my first play going up there. But it's such a difference when you start making it on your own. Like, writing the play is one thing, but then when you're in that rehearsal room on your own for so long, I was trying to juggle my MA at the same time this year. I'm just like, I'm going crazy. Whereas before it was always joyous because you had everyone in the room, and it'll be different when I'm up there as well, because it won't be everyone doing the flowering together. It'll just be me and a toy cat trying to sell this show to people. But yeah.
How long were you there last year?
It was 2 weeks, but we did every other night. So I was up there with QMTC, which was my old university's theatre company, and they take 4 shows up a year. They've got 4 shows there this year as well. And they're really good, that university, for putting out Fringe theatre. But it was a lot easier because they did a lot of it for you, and then now I have to do everything myself, which is a great learning experience, and it has been like another job, but it's super fascinating, and I find with all the social media, it does make things a bit easier.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge amount of followers, but at least you know that people know you're going, rather than just hoping that they'll read the programme, which can be daunting. Yeah, it really is. And especially if your title doesn't begin with A, you're already far into the program.
Next year.
Yeah, exactly. Except there's so many of them.
What date are you there?
So I'm from the 19th to the 24th. My 19th performance is a preview, so it's not actually with the Fringe, it's just with the venue, which is half price tickets for that day. It's like, get some tickets out there.
You said before about your inspirations and the likes of Fawlty Towers and Pinter.
Yes, so with this show in particular, I took a lot of inspiration from Samuel Beckett's Happy Days, which is also, well, it's not a one-woman show, but the male character hardly ever turns up, so it's a real powerhouse for a woman to actually play. So I take the kind of absurd thing from Samuel Beckett and Harold Pinter, who have always been my favourite playwrights since I was really young. I was a strange child that seemed to like all that stuff. And I love all kinds of theatre, and I study musical theatre. Oh, I'm just graduating now. So I love all the grand and the wonderful, but I also really love when mundane things become wild and fascinating. So I love all that. And then as far as my acting for myself, I'm a bit of a character actress, so I like taking from people like Rowan Atkinson and all these wild, flamboyant actors, like Rick Mayall as well, just people that love to be silly and ridiculous, which I think lends itself quite well to doing absurd comedies, because everything needs to make sense, and you can be wild in your physical comedy as well. And then when things go dark or wrong, then people are really taken aback. So they're like, oh no, it's not that anymore. Yeah, so it's a weird mishmash.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, so am I.
Very interesting.
Yes, it's something.
While you're here, can we talk about Cats the movie? Have you seen the trailer?
I have seen the trailer.
What did you think?
I'm scared to talk about it.
Go on, tell me. I'll put you on the spot.
I've only liked actual Cats for a certain amount of time, but Cats the musical is my favourite.
Really?
And while I've been at Mountview where I train, everyone seems to hate Cats, and I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with you, because I absolutely love that musical. But I don't like the trailer. I don't want CGI cats. Yeah, I don't like the fur.
I've got some friends who are doing Kilworth House at the moment, and their costumes are banging. They look incredible.
I just love costumes.
Yeah.
I love the makeup. Like, the original stuff was so good, and it's been going for so long. Why change it now? I want it to be great, so I'm not against it. I want it to be great, but yeah.
It was a choice, wasn't it?
It was. It's an exciting time. But it does hopefully mean that they'll keep bringing Cats to the stage, and then maybe eventually I'll be on there. Could only dream.
How is Mountview?
It's amazing.
Are you at the new complex?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
I bet there the other day you've got pizzeria and everything.
We do. We have everything. I know. It's an amazing building. I mean, I think we're getting a rooftop bar, which I'm unlucky because we were there for the first year, so that hasn't opened yet. But yeah, the building's absolutely incredible. So lucky, because the old place only had, like, compared to there, there's so few spaces, and now we've got loads. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm just finishing now, so it's quite sad. I know, goodbye to education. Make your own work. Hope for some money somewhere.
Well, I'm sure it will happen in Edinburgh.
Thank you, I hope so.
Good. Best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.